Emma Hemming has always carried herself with a quiet strength, graceful, steady, and almost impossibly composed. But over the past few months, that composure has slowly cracked in front of the world. And now, people close to her are saying something they've never said before. Emma Hemming is breaking down, and for the first time since Bruce Willis's devastating diagnosis, she is admitting she cannot handle his decline anymore. Hey everybody, welcome back! Before we dive into this emotional and deeply human story, make sure to tap that subscribe button. We cover real Hollywood life, the parts that don't fit into press releases or polished Instagram posts. So if you want honest, thoughtful commentary on the stories behind the headlines, you're in the right place. Now, let's talk about what's really happening behind the walls of the Willis home. For a long time, Emma has been the pillar holding everything together. When Bruce's family released the shocking statement confirming he had frontotemporal dementia, the world reacted with heartbreak, but Emma reacted with action. She became his full-time caregiver, spokesperson, protector, and emotional anchor all at once. She handled the media, she shielded the children, she managed medical teams, and she stood in front of the public with dignity. But anyone who has ever cared for someone with a neurodegenerative disease knows something important. No amount of love can prepare you for the emotional toll. The slow loss, the changes, the moments when the person you love is still physically there, but you're constantly confronted with the reality that the version of them you knew is slipping further away. And that's exactly what Emma has been facing. People close to the family have described her daily life as relentlessly exhausting, saying she barely sleeps, rarely slows down, and has been running on pure responsibility. Not energy, not peace, not stability, but obligation. And lately, it's become too much. Sources say she's reached a point where the emotional weight is overwhelming her, and she's finally admitting the truth she has avoided for months. She cannot handle Bruce's decline alone anymore. This isn't about failure or weakness or walking away. This is about a woman who has poured out every last drop of strength until there was nothing left to pour. And even then, she kept going. But Bruce's condition has reached a stage where the changes are so drastic, so unpredictable, and so emotionally heavy that Emma, who has handled everything with grace, has finally hit her breaking point. She's exhausted, one insider shared. People don't understand how deep this goes. She loves Bruce, but love doesn't erase the trauma of watching someone fade piece by piece. What makes this even harder is the emotional isolation. Despite having a blended family that has tried to stay united, Emma is the primary caregiver. She's the one dealing with the quiet moments, the confusion, the frustration, the nights when Bruce is restless, the days when communication gets lost, and the moments when he forgets things that once mattered. And the heartbreaking part? She rarely allows herself to say how she feels. She doesn't want to be pitied. She doesn't want sympathy. She doesn't want to be the face of suffering. But behind closed doors, she is overwhelmed. People close to her say she cries often, silently, privately, making sure the kids never hear. The pressure has built up slowly, day by day, moment by moment, until it finally reached a point where she couldn't push through it anymore. Recently, Emma reportedly broke down during a private conversation with a close friend and admitted, "I can't handle this anymore." Those words, simple but devastating, reveal just how heavy this journey has been for her. And the truth is, she's been trying to be everything at once: a mother, a nurse, a wife, a therapist, a manager, a guardian, a voice, a shield, a leader. There's no manual on how to care for someone with Bruce's condition while still protecting your own mental health. There's no guidebook for how to maintain hope when the decline feels like a silent, ongoing goodbye. Emma has been doing all of this under a microscope. The media, the fans, the rumors, the questions, the expectations. And yet, she stayed strong. Or at least she tried to. But eventually, even the strongest break. And it doesn't help that the public doesn't always understand what frontotemporal dementia actually is. It's not just memory loss, it's personality changes, behavior shifts, emotional disconnection, communication barriers, a sense of unpredictability that makes every day feel different. Bruce, once known for his quick wit, charm, humor, and energy, is now living in a world where the simple act of communicating can feel like climbing a mountain. And watching that transformation, slow, painful, irreversible, is something Emma has been trying to emotionally armor herself against. But no armor is strong enough for that kind of heartbreak. In the early months, she held on to hope. She believed her strength could counter the decline. She believed that if she stayed positive enough, organized enough, dedicated enough, she could manage everything. She believed she could shield the kids from the harshest parts of the reality. But hope doesn't stop a disease. Structure doesn't stop decline. Positivity doesn't erase progression, and Emma is finally understanding that. Insiders say she's been talking openly about feeling like she's disappearing inside her caregiving role. She no longer feels like herself. She no longer recognizes her life. Everything revolves around Bruce's condition, Bruce's needs, Bruce's care, and as much as she loves him, she's losing herself in the process. There are days when she barely speaks to anyone outside the house. Days when she feels emotionally numb. Days when she feels guilty for wanting a break, because she doesn't want to abandon him, even for a moment. But she also knows she cannot continue at this pace without collapsing. Her friends have reportedly been urging her to get more professional support, to step back, to take care of her mental health, to accept that she cannot do this alone. But Emma has struggled with that idea. She doesn't want Bruce to feel abandoned or confused. She doesn't want the kids to worry. She doesn't want the public to misinterpret her intentions. She doesn't want to look like she's stepping away from her responsibilities. But even the strongest woman in the world cannot carry this kind of emotional burden indefinitely. Another layer to this story is the pressure of public perception. Every time Emma posts anything on social media, she is flooded with comments, some supportive, some judgmental, some questioning why she looks tired, why she sounds emotional, why she seems stressed. People forget that behind those short clips and polished photos is someone fighting an emotional war every day. And then there's the family dynamic. Bruce's ex-wife, Demi Moore, and the older daughters, Rumer, Scout, and Tallulah, have remained involved. But the reality is that Emma is the full-time partner, the one physically present for the day-to-day challenges. She's the one in the trenches. She's the one who sees the decline minute by minute. And that puts her in a position where the emotional strain is simply heavier on her shoulders. The rumors have also not helped. There have been whispers about tension between Emma and some members of the family, whispers about disagreements on care decisions, whispers about property and financial concerns. Whether those rumors are fully true or not, they create an emotional environment where Emma feels like she has to defend herself, even when she's already collapsing inside. Now imagine carrying the emotional weight of losing the man you love, while also carrying the pressure of public rumors, family dynamics, caregiving exhaustion, and personal guilt. That combination is enough to break anyone. And that is exactly what has happened. Recently, sources say Emma finally allowed herself to be vulnerable in front of the people closest to her. She admitted that she feels overwhelmed, that she feels scared, that she feels emotionally drained, and that she doesn't recognize her own life anymore. For someone who has stayed strong for so long, saying those words is a sign that the pressure has reached a point that can no longer be ignored. People around her say she is now considering bringing in more professional support, allowing herself to step back a little, and accepting that she cannot be the sole foundation of the entire situation. She wants to be present for Bruce, but she also needs to be present for herself. And that balance is something she's finally acknowledging. But even with support, the emotional journey doesn't get easier. Bruce's decline is still happening. The changes are still coming. The heartbreak is still there. And Emma is still a wife watching her husband fade in ways she never imagined she would have to witness. The saddest part is that even on the good days, when Bruce seems calm, when he recognizes familiar faces, when he smiles, Emma feels a mixture of relief and sorrow. Relief that the moment is peaceful. Sorrow because she knows the peace is temporary. That's the emotional roller coaster she's been living on. And now she's beginning to talk about something deeper, the fear of what comes next. She knows the progression of the disease. She knows what the later stages look like. She knows what the medical professionals have warned her about. And even though she tries to prepare herself mentally, emotionally, and physically, there is no real preparation for that kind of journey. Her exhaustion isn't just physical. It's emotional, psychological, spiritual. It's the kind of exhaustion that sits in your bones, the kind that doesn't go away after a nap or a day off. It's the exhaustion of living with grief that never fully arrives, but never fully leaves. The grief of losing someone while they're still here. The grief of watching small pieces slip away over time. And that's what she finally admitted. She cannot carry all of this alone anymore. She still loves Bruce. She still wants to protect him. She still wants to keep the family strong, but she also wants to breathe. To stop feeling like she's drowning inside her own home. To stop pretending she's okay when she's not. To accept help without feeling like she's letting him down. Emma Hemming is human, and humans break, even the strongest ones. And as things continue to change inside the Willis home, more truths are slowly coming to the surface. Truths about the emotional battles behind the scenes. Truths about the decisions being made. Truths about the family tensions that are rising again. Truths about the fears she has been holding inside for months. And all of those truths are beginning to reshape the entire situation in a way she never wanted, but can no longer avoid. As Emma slowly begins opening up about the emotional toll, something else is becoming clearer. This isn't just her breaking point. This is the turning point of the entire family. Because for the first time, everyone around her is realizing how much she has been carrying in silence. And that silence has been heavy enough to crush anyone. People close to her say the shift started quietly. Small moments, subtle cracks. Times where she would pause mid-sentence, overwhelmed. Days where she seemed unusually distant or withdrawn. And then the realization hit all at once. Emma wasn't just tired, she was depleted. She is slowly allowing more caregivers into the home. She is accepting emotional support instead of brushing it off. She is talking openly about the fear, the sadness, and the uncertainty. And most importantly, she is rediscovering her own identity outside of being a caregiver. None of this makes Bruce's decline easier. None of this changes the emotional landscape she wakes up to every day. But it does mean she no longer feels like she's standing alone against an unstoppable tide. It also means something deeper. Emma is giving herself permission to acknowledge her own humanity. And that is the first step towards surviving a long-term emotional battle like this one. The love she has for Bruce is still unwavering. Her commitment hasn't changed. But now, she's allowing herself to face the reality that loving someone through a disease like this is not about being endlessly strong. It's about being real. It's about recognizing when the heart is tired. It's about letting the people around you help carry the weight. And maybe that's the message in all of this. Strength doesn't always look like holding it together. Sometimes true strength looks like finally admitting you can't do it all and allowing the people who love you to step forward. As the Willis family braces for whatever comes next, one thing is becoming clear. Emma isn't breaking apart. She's rebuilding. Slowly, quietly. And this time, she's not doing it alone.